All right, we are live here with our double game week 29 preview video for APL Under the Radar. I'm APL Kante. I'm here with my buddy APL Wrangler. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you, Kante?
Doing good, doing good. Just for the our listeners who joined a little bit ago, so we had an issue with our previous link, so we had to restart the stream. Um, Sorry about that, but hopefully the rest of the video will be okay. But yeah, again, so this is our double game week 29 preview. So we just got done with our game week 28 today. It was a pretty long game week, right? Started last Saturday and then finished today. How was your game week? Can you hear me, Wrangler? Uh, Can you hear me now?
Yeah, things are going bad today.
You had an issue right now, right? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
I
okay.
think I had an issue. I had some internet issues.
No problem.
Sorry
No
about
problem.
that.
No problem at all. Yeah. So how did your game week 28 go?
It was pretty good. Pretty good actually. Could have been way better if Rafina, could have at least got something because I captained him. But I got 127, so I cannot complain.
Hmm.
I moved from 42K to 17K. Could have been gone
Absolutely
to
massive.
10K,
Hmm.
just with. I mean, I was going to captain Coutinho, but at the last moment, I just went with the stats of the Rafinha. But anyways,
Yeah,
so I was
those
fortunately was
things happen. Yeah.
positive side of the variance, right? This week was like a week where there was all like 50-50 calls and a lot of people actually kind of saw the negative side as well, but I was very
Hmm.
fortunate, so it was pretty good. How about you? I mean, I actually know about your situation, so why didn't you say that?
Yeah, yeah. I should have been on the same boat as you. Of
Mhm.
course, should have been in the 100K by the end of this game week. I was at 160K, I think, end of last week. Um, and I was pretty set on doing Reese to, I mean, Van Dyke to Reese and then pressing the bench boost. That was my plan all week along, and that's what we spoke about in our last video as well. But yeah, I just unfortunately slept through the deadline, missed the deadline. So when I woke up, it was already past deadline, and I think the game already started or something like that. So yeah, unfortunate, but I think I lost about 33 points. Right now, I'm off like 24 points of 100K, so I would have been easily inside 100K if I made those moves. So yeah, I mean points lost, um, especially the race points. Bench boost, of course, still is in my hand, but the James race points are kind of hard to swallow. 18 pointer, right? Although it could have been worse again if he played today against Norwich, could have been a lot worse. That at least from that perspective, I'm lucky. But yeah, I mean things happen. Hopefully, I can recover with my bench boost later on in the season. So yeah,
Yeah,
fingers
just for
crossed
the
for that.
viewers, I mean, actually our deadline, our time is usually 6 o'clock morning, you know so easily actually, because we actually wake up like late night, with all the news and all the information. I
Hmm.
mean, we both Kante and me even have a lot of chats. We also have spaces of FPL USA. So after all that, then we go to bed like around 2, and then we actually have only 3 or 4 hours, to
Yep,
again wake up and do the
before the
changes
deadline. Yep,
before the deadline. So it happens. So I
yep.
hope, I mean, at least your bench boost still remains. So hopefully
Yeah.
in 36 you will have good. bench boost. I mean, better than
Yeah,
this, hopefully. So we'll see.
hopefully, yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, we don't have our other buddy ZD with us today. Uh, he did okay. Could have been better for him. He did not have Coutinho. He also captained Rafinha. He did not get in James Reese either. So not the best of the weeks for him. So he I know is a little uh, kind of underwhelmed after the game week as well. So he could not join us today, but hopefully he'll be back with us from our next video. So let's get started with the discussion for today. So of course we'll talk about the fixtures, long term and short term. We'll kind of try to focus on the Spurs assets and Arsenal assets a little bit, especially keeping game week 29 in mind. We'll talk about captaincy as we always do, and we'll finish with our own team selections. So talking about the fixtures first. So this is kind of a brainchild of Planet FPL Pod. So James from Planet FPL Pod and Sujan Shaha, they kind of do this pretty much every season, but this season especially with all the postponements and everything even more complicated, right? So before the day of this video, James actually tweeted out that he is about to kind of pull out his here because people are saying that Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, everyone is going to blank in 33. So he came out and said like, no, that's not necessarily the scenario. The teams that play against them would blank, uh, and Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool would still have matches in game week 33 where their FA Cup matches are, even if they do go through to the next round, right? So that's where the discussion started, and they basically had a whole video about it, talking about the rest of the scheduled postponements and where they could be rescheduled. So that's basically what we are seeing here. So there are basically, other than game week 31 and game week 38, there is pretty much always something, and maybe 34. But there are lots of double game weeks. 36, as we always knew, is going to be the biggest double game week of the season. And that always is. Historically, that's also true, pretty much always. So that's something that's going to happen. And then 32, 33 will be potentially another big-ish double game week. So that will also happen. And then 32, 35 will have basically smaller doubles, and then 37 also kind of end of the season. But what is interesting is, of course, so some of the teams, Burnley, Everton, and Leicester, they have 11 games left to be played, starting from 31 to 38. So 11 games in 8 game weeks, right? So they have to double at least thrice. Arsenal and Chelsea, who are basically we have been targeting for the last few game weeks, anyways. They also have pretty good fixtures all the way through the end of the season, and they will also have to double twice, at least twice, because they have 10 matches left from 31 to 38. So that's basically the overall scenario. Now, of course, a couple of teams can blank in 33. And again, none of these are, of course, given written on the stone, depends on a lot of other things. If all the big teams move on to the next round of FA Cup, if all the English teams do make it to the next round of the European competitions and so on, that's where this will all fall into place essentially. But yeah, Wrangler, you want to talk about maybe what are the teams that you would be targeting from 31 onwards to the rest of the season?
Right. So, first of all, as you already mentioned, right, that Arsenal, they have like 10 games left, and first of all, they are doubling in 29, right? So people are loaded up with Arsenal. I mean, at
Hmm.
least, I mean, I think all the engaged managers, um, 2 to 3, right? Definitely. And since they may have potential double in 33 and also in 36, so I think the assets from Arsenal kind of, at least two of them will be kind of probably like till the end of the season. Okay.
Right.
Chelsea gonna be very popular. Like we had a haul from Reece James, but unfortunately he again got injured, right? But again from 31, their fixtures are very good. They also have potential double. Like in 36 they have double, and I think
36,
37
37.
also, right? And
Yeah, both Chelsea
right,
and
and
Leicester
before
could
that their
potentially
fixture is
have double.
also, Right. And before that, their fixture is pretty good too, right? Like from
Hmm.
Brentford, Southampton, right? And those are home game, right? So I think, I mean, people will be jumping onto their like at least one or two defender,
Hmm.
and forward or attacker. We'll see how it goes. Like Kai Havertz or Mount, probably at least Mount. I think it could be a very good shout, but we'll see. I mean, I will think about it later. Leicester City, definitely, right? As you can see, like they have three games to be like scheduled, right? So
Hmm.
especially like 33, 36, and 37. So we'll see, like Vardy is out for a month at least, right? So I guess Harvey Barnes and Madison, if he's fit, those are the two options. Maybe we'll see how, if anything else like either Lookman or Daka, if they show some promise there. Everton, you already mentioned, right? That Everton may have potential double in 32. They're doubling in 29. Not in the best form, but still, like, they're doubling. And if DCL gets some touches, then again, we'll see
Hmm.
um, some options there. And Burnley, again, I mean, they have three games, right? We already had very frustrated week in 27 with Burnley, but again, they are doubling again. I mean, and
Right.
they're good fixtures. So we'll see. So yeah, there's a couple of the teams, and Spurs. It's a kind of a long-term hold as well, right? Because they are doubling again in 29, and Liverpool is Liverpool, right? So couple of the
Hmm.
teams probably have to offload, like Oaks. People are like having two or three players because of the double they have. Like they had double, right? 26 and 28, but you have to offload them, and that will start from 31 because they are banking in 33. Hopeful, I mean, looks like, and their fixture doesn't look good too after that.
Right.
Aston Villa is a tricky one. I was talking to you before this, right? So their fixture kind of in a midterm, like after, I mean, probably 30. Like I think they're
33, 34,
playing
35 is different.
against.
Yeah.
Yeah,
30.
that fixture is pretty good, and they're having double.
Hmm.
So it's kind of tricky, like we'll see how it goes. But here, do you want to talk about? I know, I mean, we're spending some time here, but it's kind of very important. So do you want to talk about, like, a lot of people are thinking about wild carding after 30, right? That was
Hmm.
very popular initially, right? And then their double game week announcement, and people started playing uh, wild card in 26 or 28. But still, a lot of people have like wild card in 31, right? They also have probably one free hit, and they have also a bench boost. They have
Hmm.
three chips to play, right? So what's your thought on that for those people, right? Like, wait, what would
Yeah,
be
I
a good
think.
time to play wildcard here and then free hit and bench boost? Do you want to talk about it here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think right after 30 is the best or most optimized time for wildcarding, because in 32 the schedules are kind of a little difficult.
Hmm.
Man City plays Liverpool and so on. So maybe you want to kind of ride that. And some of the players who had like doubles or decent games in 28, 29, or have games in 30, they still have decent fixtures in 31 and 32, right? So you don't necessarily need to like get rid of them right away. So you still kind of can hold on to most of them. You can of course buy like a Everton player or a Burnley player if you want to go there, right? As you were saying, like offload Wolves and so on, but not necessarily you have to kind of completely overhaul your team in 31 or 32. I think 33 is a good time to wildcard, starting from 33 to 35, again, depending on the status of your team, how many players you have for those doubles and so on. Especially if you are keen on bench boosting in 36, probably 35, but at the same time, you're probably leaving it too much to the end. So you, of course, want to kind of target your 33 doubles as well. So I think 33 33 wildcard could be a good option. You can target 33 doubles. You can set up your team well for the upcoming game weeks, including 36 bench boost potentially. Of course, the delta is not ideal. There are 2 game weeks in between, but you can still have a decent team so that there are a little bit of problems here and there. You can still set yourself up for that. But I think 34 and 35 are decent wildcard options as well. So I would say between uh, those 3 game weeks, 33, 34, and 35
Yeah, I
would be good
think
time.
33 is still. I mean, again, if you have one free hit and one bench boost and also like wildcard, maybe I think 33 people are gonna play free hit. Maybe I don't know. I mean, then
Yeah.
34, 35 is the wildcard, and then
Mhm.
36 the bench boost, right? Because
Yep.
I don't know when they're gonna play free hit. I really don't understand that.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, 33 could be a good game week to target from a free hit standpoint, as you said, because there are teams like say Leicester and Everton doubling, right? You probably don't want to hold on to their players throughout the game weeks in the middle, say for like 34 and 35 and so on, right? So you can get onto like say Leicester assets later on, again at like 36 and so on.
mhm.
So yeah, 33 can be a good game week for free hitting as well. You attack the doubles, and then you don't have to worry about carrying them through 34 and 35. And then you wildcard basically, right? Either in 34 and 35, set
Right.
yourself up for bench boost in 36. 36 is potentially the best bench boost week, like in the overall season, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people did get success in this week also in 28. You yourself also got 27 points, so decent bench boost, I would say. Very good bench boost. But 36 on the paper is the best week to bench boost with all the doubles that are happening. So you can potentially have like 15 doublers, right, in your team, very likely. So yeah, so I mean,
And I mean that the league actually got very close, right? So I
mhm,
think, I mean, people were thinking that if Man City is gonna be way ahead, they might not, like, show up with full strength in the end of the season. But I don't think it's gonna happen. So it's gonna be very crunchy, I guess, and we hope that. And 36 bench boost is gonna be very popular. People, they will
right.
probably find all the players playing on the pitch.
Yeah, unless like Man City has like a 9 point gap by then, which is unlikely. Is
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure pretty much all the big players will be playing by then. And if one or two of them already are out of the European Championship, then even more so, right? Because they will
Hmm.
be concentrating on the league even more. But again, so all these are kind of predicted fixtures. We don't know if they will fall exactly like this or
Hmm.
not. This is assuming that all the odds happen, right? So whatever the betting odds
Right.
are for the FA Cup fixtures and the European competitions. But again, at the same time, this is the best assumption that we can make. And I would say, like, even if they are not exactly like this, at least probably like 90% of the fixtures would have to fall like this because of the available midweeks and so on. But yeah, we'll see. But no doubt, at least on these, that Burnley, Everton, and Leicester will have three doubles no matter what. Maybe a triple game week if they fail to schedule it properly, also. And Chelsea and Arsenal again will at least have two doubles. And 36, no matter what, is going to be a big double. So those are kind of almost like universal truths, right? So, but
Hmm.
yeah, let's move on maybe from this one, unless you have
Yeah.
something else to add.
No. Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. All right. So focusing on game week 29 now, as we all know by now. So three basically teams in focus. Liverpool, they are playing Brighton away and Arsenal away. Good double, decent double. Spurs have a kind of tough double on the paper, but pretty decent as well. Man United away and Brighton away. And then Arsenal also has at least one part of their double is pretty good, attractive. Leicester home and Liverpool home is their second match. So those are the three teams kind of in focus. So whenever we are going to pretty much talk about our teams or target players throughout the rest of this video, those are the three teams that are essentially going to be in focus. Um, there are no necessarily like single game week either that really catches the eye. Maybe Chelsea, Newcastle, and Man City, Crystal Palace. But again, Newcastle is doing pretty good recently, so I don't think Chelsea will come away with a win that easily. And then Crystal Palace at home are also a very decent team. Actually, our model is predicting an upset there. Crystal Palace beating Man City, which I would not be surprised, to be honest. Right? Crystal Palace are really,
Last time
really good.
actually they won, right?
Yeah, Crystal Palace are really good at home. So I would not be actually surprised with that. But yeah, so those are the only two single game week fixtures probably that people potentially can target. Other than that, it's going to be basically completely focused on those three teams, right? And then, of course, Leeds. Some of us has Rafinha, so he has a game against Norwich, and Southampton has a game against Watford, right, at home. That those are probably kind of on the because we are carrying those players. So a lot of us will have those players in our 11 as well. Rafinha, or a Broha and so on, right? But other than that, very much the focus is going to be on those three doublers. Anything to add here?
No, let's move on. Just one thing, like Man City, like Diaz is out, right? And Cancelo is also out for this week. You know,
Yes.
I guess he's out because Pep was not very clear about him. Okay,
Sounded like, yeah, he won't be available for this
right.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean something can happen. We'll see.
Yep. Yeah, I was surprised looking at that the model somehow predicted that Crystal Palace scoring more
Mhm.
than Man City. I mean, it can be a draw easily also, but it's should be a close match, tight match. All right, let's move on. So as we were saying, so basically three teams that we are talking about from like targeting players in game week 29. Uh, Liverpool, we are not probably going to talk much about because it's kind of known. Everyone has Salah, everyone has Trent. The third Liverpool spot is probably a little bit up for debate. Uh, Again, Robertson is probably the third best. Some people like me, I am carrying Van Dijk. I was supposed to get rid of him, but I did not. So I will carry him. People may get attracted to like Luis Diaz or Jota, but again, it's probably hard to go there given how uncertain it is, right? Minutes. Firmino, I think, also is back fit. So it's basically four very good players fighting for two places, right? Mane, Firmino, Jota, and Diaz. So it's very hard to be sure about their minutes, especially in this like narrow time frame. So I think most people, whoever they will go for, will be the third spot is going to be a defender, very likely either a Robertson or a Van Dijk. You want to add anything to that before we talk about Spurs?
No, I think again, as you said, if anyone wants to like fill up the third spot of Liverpool, I think it's gonna be defender.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about Spurs. And as soon as we talk about Spurs, the first two names that comes to mind are Kane and Son. So there was kind of a hype, like it kind of subsided maybe like today or yesterday, but at least a couple days ago there was a big hype talking about Son plus Jimenez to Kane plus Kulusevski because you are getting rid of Jimenez. He's not nailed anymore, and then you're getting a better attacker in the form of Kane, at least better form wise, in with respect to Son, right? So I mean, the first thing that came to my mind is like Son. Both of us had Son in the beginning of the season, right? He gave us points, and even when we did not have him in the middle of the season, he was pretty consistent throughout the season, right? And under Conte, also he has posted very good numbers. So it's very hard to compare, right? And if you look at this plot right here, if you look at the numbers first of all, so Kane's numbers, Kane's XGI and Son's XGI are pretty close, zero point 0.7 versus 0.69 throughout the season. Under Conte, Kane probably has done slightly better, but again, if you look at these numbers, whenever Kane does well, Son also does well, right? They're kind of neck to neck, and vice versa. When Son does well, Kane also does well. So basically it's like when they do well, Spurs do well, right? As simple as that. So
It was
it's
always
very
the
hard.
case. Like it was always the case. Like even Mourinho time, right? It was always the case.
Absolutely, yeah. They were the focal points always. So anyone that has Son, I would be very wary of removing him before the double game week, especially for like a minus seat and go to Son, go to Kane, especially if you're not captaining Kane, right? Most likely you are going to captain Salah, so you are again like putting less weightage on that move anyways. So I don't think it's a worthy move. And I know, as I was saying, it was kind of hyped a couple days ago, but it subsided. And also, like the players, like we are talking about Jimenez, he did play today and he did well. So I think he's probably back to the first 11, likely, anyways. So do you want to move out to sure shot players in Son and Jimenez for a heat to Kane and Kulusevski? Again, Kulusevski, will talk about him, but are you sure that he's going to play 180 minutes anyways, right? So it's a big uncertainty. So I would absolutely not tear up my team just to move from Son to Kane anyways, right? So and as on the right side, as you see also, especially in the away games, that's where generally Spurs kind of sits in the back, more reliant on counter attacks. Those are the games where Son actually releases more, right? So he flourishes more in those games. So yeah, I just don't see myself if I was in that situation that I have Son and I don't have Ken. I have Ken and both of us have Ken right now. But if I had Son, I would definitely be not making that sideways move. It is a sideways move for me. What do you think, Wrangler?
Yeah, I think it's a. I mean, yeah, as you say, it was a like huge hype thing, right? I mean, especially actually it happened whenever Spurs won 5-0 against Everton, and then Jimenez was not nailed. He didn't come up, right? So that's when people got like kind of worried,
Hmm.
and that's when they were thinking that there will be upside, right? But I mean, again, today Jimenez showed up and he scored, right? And now, if you want to do that, as you said, it's kind of huge tear up as well in terms of uh,
Structure, yeah, yeah.
structure. I think you had a plan. I mean, if I think the thing is, if your other things are taken care of, other side of the team, right?
Hmm.
Like it's in a perfect shape. Just this move, maybe you can do that. Maybe it's kind of a luxury thing to me now. You know
Hmm.
that if again, as I say, like okay, other like you already have all the players taken care of for 29 and also 30 as well. You're well set up. Then you can do it. I mean, you have to do the transfer, right? So I think that's
Right.
when it's fine. Otherwise, as you said, right, Kane and Son always appreciate each other. Like I told you, even it's. I mean, I've been looking into their whole season data, like all
Hmm.
of this like metrics, right? XG or whatever we say, XA, they were all like on top of each other, very close, very neck to neck, right?
Hmm.
And again, whenever Son does better, then Kane also does better, right? So I
Yep.
think, yeah. I mean, again, if you don't do it, just you can do it, but I would not do it, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, it is Kane and Son, not Kane or Son, right? If you had the money, if we all had the
Right.
money to do that, it would be Kane and Son, not or.
Yes.
But unfortunately,
I
because
think.
of the funding, because of the structure, it's hard to
Yeah.
probably fit both of them in, unless you are wildcarding or something.
Right. I think the another reason people are thinking is that in the forward there is no one really like I mean performing like Lacazette probably is there, so
Hmm.
I think that's where people are thinking that okay, at least if I mean in midfield you have a lot of options.
Correct.
That's where they were thinking that okay, if I can get Kane, then in midfield I have like numerous options that I can fill up, like Kulusevski now is a hype, or other players as well. So that's where people are thinking of, and
All right.
they can do it. So.
All right. Let's move on. You want to talk about the other two Spurs players that were
Yeah,
kind of
so
in focus?
again, it came after this last game, right? That after this 5-0, like Matt Duarte had 18 points, right? He had a very good game, and that's when people actually started thinking about actually late riser, like even before that in his wild
You
card.
wildcarded into them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
he
right.
brought him, right, which was a very good move and very. I mean, he was always a upside chaser, right, and that's
Hmm.
how actually he has been always. So yeah, so I mean, Matt Doherty is a matter of topic now, and it's gonna be very high transfer, I think, because
Hmm.
his performance, and looks like he's a like first choice as well. Looks like because if you see his heat map, he's not only having attacking threat. I'm gonna tell you the number as well because he had very good underlying stats attacking wise, but also he has been supporting defensively as well, right? And that's where actually he becomes more. I think I mean he gets better edge than Emerson Royal, right?
Right.
And if you see his number, right, this is very small data set, like last 6 games, 23 to
Hmm.
28. But if you see his number as a defender, right, he has 0.21 xg, and he actually like 0.25, like he kind of not overperform or underperform. Is there. Assist, he actually like 0.75, right? So xgi, like he has 0.25, right, like overall involvement,
0.45. Yeah.
like yeah, sorry, 0.45, like close to zero point 0.5, so which is like
Close
as a
to like
defender.
midfielders or anything. Yeah.
Exactly, right. And he also had, if you see like big chance created, and shots on target, per 90, it's like one at least, per game, which is huge, right?
Hmm.
So that's where actually Doherty became very popular. He's 4.7 only, right? So that's why if he plays, then definitely you can expect. I mean, we have been. I mean, when he was in Wolves, right? He was in that form, and if you remember, you and me and other all the defenders, all
Yep.
the managers were
We
very much.
always had him. Yep.
Yeah, we always had him, right? It's just like whenever he was in Spurs, like nailness was the issue, but I think he
Hmm.
was getting that form and he will be very popular. Another one is Kulusevski, and there is every right to be like very excited about him. The way he played in last couple of games, like I think 4 to 5 games, phenomenal, right? If you see his number, like it's 0.63, like XGI, so it's pretty good. Big chance created 0.85, right? Lots of shots even 2.54, right? So that's where I think he actually became very much popular. And now Lucas Moura is getting fit, but I think the way he played, and fourth place is on the card for
Yep.
Spurs, and definitely Kulusevski will be there. Lucas
Yeah, I don't
Moura.
think Conte would want to break the winning team, right?
Exactly. And that's where, like, I would like to add with Son and Kane thing here as well. I think, it's my personal thinking that in this game week against Brighton, Son is going to do better because of their highline defense. Okay. Because he's going to take this run. And against Man United, I hope Kane is going to do better. But I think Kulusevski, if he plays all of these two games, I think Kulusevski is gonna outperform both of them,
Hmm.
because all of this ball, I think Kulusevski is gonna provide. So that's my personal just thoughts. So, and I think I'm gonna get him, and he's gonna be very popular,
Yeah.
pick for this game. We can. It's only 6.1. Why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially for us who already has Kane, and as we were talking about the value of Kulusevski, right? Son is like what 10.8, and then Kulusevski
Yeah,
is like
2.8, right? Yeah,
6.1, so like
one.
4.5 million. Can basically buy two better players elsewhere, right, in your team. If again, if you already have Kane, right? So for us, it's going to be a huge deconstruction of the team if we want to fit Son in. And we are talking about it right before the video that is there a possibility? But yeah, so that's what Kulusevski's value is, right? Even if it does not perform as much as Son, you will get your value backs elsewhere in your team because you are going to get better players in your team, right? So that's where the value is. Not It's not just Son versus Kulusevski. It's also Son plus the other players versus Kulusevski versus the other better players that you will have in your team.
Right. So yeah, I think, looks like it's a very good shout. And I mean, if you can afford, I think go for it. I'm gonna go for it, at least Kulusevski. So
Absolutely. And I think his ego, at least in the top 100K area, is going to be pretty high in the
I
coming game
think
week.
so.
At least
Yeah.
should be pretty high. And anyone, any involved managers, I think it's hard to ignore, especially Kulusevski. Maybe easier to ignore Doherty because some people are going to target Liverpool defense and so on. But yeah, so
Conte,
yeah,
there is some weird sound coming from your end. Is it?
really,
Yeah, like, is it because of your? Sometimes it's coming, sometimes it's good.
is it better now?
Yeah,
Or
it's good now. Yeah,
okay, all right. Maybe I was moving. That's where the
yeah,
sound came from.
yeah. All
All
good
right.
now.
Okay, so let's move on to Arsenal attackers. So of course, I mean, we were both looking at the numbers a couple days ago, right? So we both wildcarded into Arsenal players, and both of us got double defense, right? Of course, Ramsdale. I got Gabriel, you got Tierney, so we got double defense, and we both got Saka. And I think the first two choice is pretty kind of clear cut from Arsenal. You get Ramsdale, and he is basically kind of a season keeper, right? You can keep him throughout the end of the season, or if you want to move him out for someone like Smake, you can do that later in the season. Um, and then second is basically Saka because he has been performing pretty consistently over the pretty much throughout the season again. He has been overperforming his numbers a little bit, but I think the player he is a very good finisher. He's a very good passer of the ball. So I think he will keep overperforming his numbers. So no worries there for me. So Ramsdale and Saka, definitely the two players that anyone would want to get from Arsenal for the double game week and beyond. The question is who is the third spot, right? And that's where we are basically looking at the stats and essentially the players in contention. And again, we are focusing on the attackers because we think that in this double game week, because it's Leicester and Liverpool, they are more prone to conceding less chance of keeping a clean sheet, better chance of getting attacking returns, right? So that's why we were talking about your attackers. So Lacazette, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and Martinelli, right? So who do you prefer? Say, irrespective of price or position, who would be your third spot from Arsenal?
So I think like underlines wise, Lacazette is very good option, right? So basically, if you see his number, right, he has been pretty good. He has on penalty as well, right? And we don't have much of option in the forward, right? So Lacazette is a very good shout, and he actually had very good statistics versus Liverpool as well. Okay, so I mean, if my other team structure suits him, I would go for him. But again, right, I mean, like value, right, his value is key here, right? And because you can get like Odegaard or Martinelli, right, over there, like at 5.5 or 5.4, something like that. So that's where actually, like, that becomes more intriguing. I mean, I mean, although you asked me like if price is not a problem, but I mean, again, price is a very
Is a problem.
yeah, it's an issue there, right? So for my third spot, I would prefer between Martinelli and Odegaard, and I would actually prefer Odegaard over Martinelli because of his nailness and his involvement. He was in set pieces as well. He did very good as well, and as you also mentioned, right, like with the heat maps, he has been all over the places, right?
Mm.
And there is a like Martinelli has some issue or some concern with the minutes as well. ESR can come anytime, right? Will not be surprised. So that's where actually, like, from the third spot perspective, I would pick Odegaard amongst like Lacazette, Martinelli, and ESR. What about you?
Yeah, makes sense, and I'm on the same page as well. I mean, definitely not ESR because of his minute risk. Again, he is kind of that guy. He has been doing that all through the season. He comes on in as a substitute and scores goals, but it's hard to go there. Lacazette, as you mentioned, if someone wants to keep that forward spot, say for example, you have Son in your team, you don't have a Kane, so you want to kind of preserve that at least somewhat price range in that bracket. Lacazette is a very, very decent option. You can definitely go there. But again, because of our team structure the way it is right now, I would want to get in a midfielder because that suits my team better because of the price range and because of the structure both together. Um, so yeah, and Odegaard over Martinelli because of minutes and because also how integral he is to the team. Martinelli, if he plays like one bad game here and there, as you said, ESR is there to compete. Pepe is back. Pepe is fit, so he will be a minute risk, or he will share some minutes over there as well with him. So yeah, I think Odegaard, the way Arsenal is playing right now, Odegaard is absolutely key to that. He's basically the team player, the playmaker, right? So there is no way that Arteta is going to drop him. So yeah, absolutely Odegaard. There's a little bit of upside, of course, with Martinelli. He's more of a scorer. Odegaard is not much of a scorer, right? He's more of a assister or sometimes maybe assister of the assister, right? So that's a little bit of concern. Again, it's down to your kind of individual decision. If you want to go for the upside, go for Martinelli. But I was looking at his numbers. I was looking at his season numbers. Only one match he actually braced and he did gave like a 15 pointer. Everywhere else, like he's, I mean, he's a good player, no doubt, but he has not really performed like consistently throughout the season either, other than that one match. Uh,
Yeah. So basically, since that match, his last return was actually the last match.
yep.
In between, he didn't have any return.
Right. So yeah, I mean, especially after the red card, we were talking to the Arsenal supporters, right? Some of the FPL US Arsenal supporters. So they also agreed that Martinelli is not really looking that good. Again, the upside is there, and he can deliver. He scored a very good goal last game, right? That was his first return after that brace. Um, but yeah, I mean, given everything else, even the Arsenal, most of the Arsenal supporters also think that Odegaard is a better shot over Martinelli. And again, I mean, it can go either way, right? You have to kind of make your individual choice. There is no right and wrong, but I think Odegaard would keep slightly ahead of Martinelli.
I would like to, if you're done here, I would like to give a couple of shout out here. Since you already
Absolutely.
mentioned that FPL USA, there are few folks there who are Arsenal fan, and they have been always in providing us very good insight about Arsenal. So if you guys are watching us, please follow those people. They are very good people in on the Twitter. You can search through FPL USA and find out Yogesh, Raja, and Dichin. So they are very good. And another shout out to FPL Black Wolf, who has been very good. He was, I mean, he's not like he doesn't have any internal news or not, but I mean, his prediction about Wolves are kind of spot on. So very good person to follow. So just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with some of these like little bit of tidbits about team insights, right? Like because we are not Arsenal supporters, we are not Wolves supporters. They have that viewpoint, like who are the players that they think are more important to the team or could be rotated and so on. So yeah, absolutely. As Wrangler said, if you don't follow them, please do. Always good insights from them. All right. So anything else to add on Arsenal?
No, let's move on.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about captaincy and pretty straightforward. Actually, we spoke about most of these players already. We spoke about Kane and Son. Decent shout. Manchester away, Brighton away. On paper, sounds difficult, but at least recent form wise, both Manchester and Brighton's defense have been kind of a little vulnerable. And Tottenham is a little bit unpredictable, right? If they were not, I think they would probably even more popular than Salah as captain's option. Just that kind of unpredictability, right? They did well against Everton and Leeds, but then they played bad against Burnley and who was the other team? Wolves or something, I forgot. But it's just kind of hard to predict when they turn up, right? We have Saka also here, but definitely like kind of out of all these players, no one is going to cap Saka. Maybe because of that Leicester match, there again vulnerability on that right wing could be one reason, but no one is going to go there. But yeah, if anyone wants to go for a Spurs option, again we looked at Kane's numbers, we looked at Son's numbers, phenomenal numbers. Uh, Nothing wrong going there, right? You can definitely go there, but again it comes down to not just what you expect the players to do. The consistency is of course a factor, but another big factor is effective ownership, right? A lot of players will captain Salah this week, and people like us who did not wildcard in game week 26, so who did wildcard in game week 26, did not triple cap Salah in 26. Uh, Probably a bunch of them are going to triple cap him, right? So his EO will pretty much be upwards of 200%, right? So at least in my position, I don't see anywhere other than Salah as a captaincy option. I know Wrangler, we were talking about Trent as well. Trent outperformed Salah even in the last match, right? 3 versus 12 points. And he has done that throughout the season again. But whenever there's a good matchup, if you want to captain Trent, the question would be why not Salah, right? And I don't think it goes the other way around. Salah is just the priority choice for captaincy whenever Liverpool has a good matchup. What are your thoughts on captaincy?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with. I mean, Salah. I'm gonna actually go with triple captain Salah. But yeah, he's not getting goals. I think from open play. I think I don't know. It was 400 plus some minutes, right?
Mhm.
But if you see, right, his XG. I mean, it has been always there. I mean, even in the Champions League, right, he hit the post twice, right?
Twice.
So unlucky. So I mean, it's just sticking there, right? I mean, it's not like okay, he's in out of form. It's not like that. He is there. He has been creating chances, and he. If you see his heat maps as well, right? It's not like that he's kind of playing deep. Not. It's not like that. It's just like he's kind of unlucky. So let's hope like again
Yep.
in 2029 it's gonna be like he's gonna get something out of it. Kane is in red hot form, right? So definitely, if you want to do something different, yes, Kane, you can go for it. Really, I mean, it's a very good shout. It's just as you mentioned, right? EO is a fact here, right? So that's why I think Salah definitely goes above Kane, but Kane is a good shout too. Other
Yep.
than that, I don't see any other options. So.
Right. Absolutely. All right. I don't think we have anything else to talk about here. So both of us are, of course, triple captaining Salah. So it'll be a kind of nice transition so that we talk about the triple captain cheap a little bit before we move on to our team selection. Um, so of course we are going to triple captain Salah in game week 29, where they're playing Brighton away and Arsenal away. And of course, if again someone wants to go there, Kane or Son versus Arsenal and Brighton. So game week 29, again, whoever did not use the triple captainship in 26, this is potentially the next best option, right? Another very good option is in game week 36, right? We spoke about this earlier in the video that it's going to be a big double for Liverpool, double for Man City, double for Chelsea, double for Spurs. So there are tons of options where you can go to in game week 36. And as we were talking before the video wrangler, that it's not just about the individuals where you want to captain and so on. I think between 29 and 36, it's not even that big of a delta, say for a Salah triple captaincy, right? Brighton and Arsenal versus Tottenham and Aston Villa, not that big of a delta. So you can definitely do that. But I think for most of the people who has their second free hit or has their bench boost in hand, 36 will be more optimum to use those chips instead of the triple captaincy, because 15 teams are, well, not 15, 12 teams are going to double. So you can potentially have 15 doublers in your team for bench boost. Or if your team is not in a good shape, you can free hit into 11 very good double game weekers and have better outcome of it in comparison to the triple captaincy, right? So triple captaincy is just uh, one additional player, right? Essentially, if you think about it that way, bench boost is potentially going to give you 8 extra players. A free hit also will potentially give you multiple extra players given the shape of your team if you don't have all the good doublers that you want. So 36 is essentially optimal for using either a free hit or a bench boost, not necessarily for the triple captain. Again, it's not necessarily due to the individual who you want to captain and so on. And Wrangler, I know you were talking about Cancelo or KDB, the Man City boys in 36 as well. Newcastle home and West Ham away. Looks juicy, right? And if the title is not decided by then, I think they'll basically be playing with their full strength team, right? You mentioned Mahrez also. If Mahrez is playing both the games, he can like wreak carnage, right? So definitely that can happen. But I think for me at least, it's more down to the cheap strategy, how you want to plan your chips, and better get rid of the triple captaincy now and use your free hit or bench boost in 36. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you. I mean, it's well put. I mean, it's, yeah, 36. Triple captaincy is very lucrative too, right? Salah is a 50-50 between 29 and 36, and Man City boys are there. But as you said, right, there are other chips you have to play, like free hit or bench boost, and I think free hit or bench boost is more. I mean, you can have
Value
more
added.
upside there, right? In 36, it's more suitable there. So that's why 29 triple captaincy would be a very good option than compared to others.
Absolutely. I mean, there are a couple other options. I mean, I don't think too many people are going to go there anyways. But if you have, for some reason, have not played your triple captaincy, just kind of holding on to it, kind of have a uptick at the end of the season. Game week 37, Leicester's game week is probably the most lucrative out of all these. Watford away and Norwich home, probably the most lucrative fixture set of fixture that you can think of. So if someone is still holding on to that, probably. But again, the problem with Leicester is where they would be by that time. They're kind of mid-table team this year. If they're still in the European competition, by that time that would be their priority. But this fitness is a problem. Madison's fitness is a problem. Maybe Barnes, maybe Daka, but would you triple captain those players? Most likely not. Other than Vardy, you're probably not going to triple captain a Leicester player. So yeah, unless like you don't find any opportunity at all to play your triple captain by 37, not the worst shout. If you know like a player, Leicester player who is going to play both matches, a good shout. But yeah, definitely 29 and 36 are better places. All right. Let's move on to our teams. And it's a nice segue into that also. And as we mentioned, that both of us are using our triple captain chips this week, at least so far, unless something happens to Salah, of course, or we know something late in the before the deadline. And Liverpool is early kickoff, right? So we'll most likely get some team news too. Um, Not necessarily that's going to change a whole lot, but at least we'll get some idea. If something happens, we'll get the idea. So right now my team reads like this: Ramsdale, Gabriel, Trent, Van Dijk, Rafinha, Saka, Salah triple cap, Coutinho, Jimenez, Boa, Kane. So right now I have 7 doublers, 3 Arsenal, 3 Liverpool, and 1 Spurs. My single game weekers are Rafinha, Jimenez, Broha, and Coutinho. So uh, my original plan was basically to kind of see if I can somehow fit Son in, and we spoke about it. And it's just necessarily I have to break my team down. I have to significantly downgrade 1 or 2 of my players, and then also it reduces the flexibility for my team later on in the season where I want to get back, say, Cancelo or get into the Chelsea defense, right, in 31. So it's very hard for me to kind of reserve the fund for that if I get Son in. So I kind of walked away from that idea very quickly. So right now, my first priority is to do Gabriel, Coutinho, and Ramsey to Doherty, Kulusevski, and Odegaard. So I have 2 free transfers, of course, because I missed the deadline. Um, so one reason that I want to move away from the Arsenal double defense is because of their matchup again, right? Leicester and Liverpool both are attacking teams, good attacking teams, and they're very likely to score goals. Arsenal did keep a clean sheet earlier in the season, but you would expect Leicester to score a goal, right? Here and there. And Liverpool, of course, the most attacking team in the whole league. So I would rather prefer double Arsenal attack. So that's why I want to make the move from Gabriel to Odegaard, as we spoke about, as the third spot from Arsenal. He's our priority, or he's our preference. And then whatever option I go, my 2 Spurs boys coming in, Doherty and Kulusevski, at least in the current plan. Doherty can easily be Reguilon as well, because Reguilon is pretty nailed to play the next 3 matches at least. Doherty is probably not as nailed in comparison to Reguilon. That's the only reason, but at least recent form-wise and everything, Doherty would probably be the preference again. But again, no matter what, no matter which option I go, Doherty and Kulusevski is there. One thing that I can do is, without taking a hit and keeping Gabriel as the third Arsenal player, I can do Saiz plus Coutinho to Doherty and Kulusevski, straight move without any hit. Um, so it still gives me 9 doublers with Broha and Rafinha being the single game makers, or Jimenez and Rafinha being the single game makers, whichever way it is. That can be an option also. The only downside is that Ramsey will still be in my team, as we were talking about again before the video. And then the other downside is that I have double Arsenal defense, where I would prefer to have double Arsenal attack, right? And again, it can backfire easily. Gabriel can score a goal. Odegaard can do nothing in 2 matches. Very, very possible. But probably I would want to take that chance. So I would still prefer the option 1 over option 2. And then option 3 is the other option that we kind of briefly spoke about, going to Lacazette. So that would be Gabriel, Coutinho, and Jimenez to Doherty, Kulusevski, and Lacazette. Again, the 2 Spurs are still there. The only move different is basically Jimenez to Lacazette. And again, is this format also I have 9 doublers. Again, with 2 Arsenal attackers, so not the worst thing either. The problem with this one is the structure, and I still would have Ramsey, who I don't like quite anymore for my team moving forward, and also the structure and the money kind of set up in the forward line. And as we were saying before, in the fixtures also in 32 and 33, where Burnley and Everton doubles, potentially a double as well in consecutive game weeks. We may want to get in like a Burnley attacker like Weghorst or something like that, right? Or Everton attacker, whatever. So it will be a easy. I would have to swap out that second forward anyways. So that's kind of an extra move for me. So I would rather 5-2. Again, whether I play Jimenez and Broha, that will be down to whatever we know of Broha, whether he was injured or not, or whether the manager says anything about his form, etc., etc. Most likely, I would prefer Broha over Jimenez for this week as my 11th player. But if we hear something, I may play Jimenez as well. But yeah, so that's essentially going to be my team. So in this format, essentially coming in would be Doherty for Gabriel, Kulusevski for Coutinho, and then Odegaard for either Jimenez or Broha. That's basically going to be my 11. Any suggestions?
No, I as we were discussing, right, I liked your first move. I mean, since you have like two free transfer, so that's why I think -4 is gonna be worth it to do, like, Gabriel to Odegaard. I mean, if I think in that way, Arsenal's assets. So the third one, as you mentioned, right, that if you have Lacazette, and then the problem would be, like, in 33, if Arsenal doubles, right, so then you have to again bring, because in the meantime, Burnley may have double in 32. So I think you may have to bring Weghorst or
Right.
something like that, right? So that's gonna be kind of a, like, one extra transfer. And again, as we discussed, right, that with a value like Odegaard or Martinelli, right, it's only
Mhm.
5.4 or 5.5, so it's really good, and you can keep them for the whole season actually, right?
Right.
And the upside is there too. And like Arsenal's fixture is not a good fixture in defensive wise, right? I mean, although they are playing Leicester City and they are vulnerable in the set pieces, and Gabriel will be very good option there, but I think I would do that. I mean,
Mhm.
again, since just you have two free transfers, so it's only -4. If it is -8, I would say don't do that. But since it's -4, I would say go.
Right. All right. So let's move on to your team, Emre. Want to talk about
Yeah,
your
so my team, if I read out Ramsdale, in the goalie, I have Tierney. I have Reece James, but he's not gonna play, as we know. I have Trent, Saka, Coutinho, Rafinha, Salah, triple captain. He's gonna be. I have Jimenez, Broha, Kane. Very similar to your team actually. It's just I don't have any Van Dijk now, or any third spot for Liverpool yet. So I my transfer is I think I'm gonna bring out Dinia or Size, one of them, since they're single game weaker.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna get. I'm planning to get actually Robertson, which is the third spot from Liverpool. I'm very much bullish on him, and he's gonna be my long term pick actually. And I also want Kulusevski, and he's having double, and 30 Spurs are playing, and he's in good form. The only problem is I have to get rid of Coutinho here if I go to that route. And another route would be, like, if I don't take Robertson, if I go to the Doherty route, then I can keep Coutinho, but I can then get rid of Ramsey. And I also don't like Ramsey anymore, because I already finished my bench boost, and he's done with double game week. And there are a lot of other options in the midfield as well, right? So he's just keeping one space.
Right.
So I think I'm gonna go with the first route. I mean, it's just I'm not sure about Doherty yet. I mean, yeah, he did very good,
Mhm.
but again, his parts is not very consistent, right? As you said. So I still need to see. I mean, Doherty would be really good if he would be like very nailed, and he'd be performing like how he has been doing even
Mhm.
in last few seasons. It's just I have to see more, and I think that's where, I mean, it's a Coutinho is a, I mean, I mean, the form he had in last two games, it's going to be very difficult for me to get rid of him. But I think I'm going to do that. That's the thing. What do you think? I mean,
Yeah, I
what
mean,
do you?
I definitely like the Robo move, as I was saying before as well. So I think the third Liverpool spot should be your priority over anything else. Um,
Yeah.
in any double game week where Liverpool is playing, you don't want to go with two Liverpool players. I think the downside is, of course, they don't play in game week 30, right? So with the second move, you
Right.
get one extra fixture in 30, right?
Yeah.
Potentially. So
So I'll have
that's an upside.
nine players if I do Robo, but if I
Right.
mean 30. So
Right.
another question. So do you think? I mean, it's worth it to get -8 and get rid of size and bring Doherty?
Hmm.
Then I'm gonna get, like, one more doubler here, and even in 30, I'm gonna get Doherty. I mean,
I
in
think it
30, I'm not
will.
gonna increase any more, but at least in
Yeah.
29, I'm increase one more player game.
I think
Which
it would kind of depend on, because in the current structure you would have to play both Jimenez and Broha, if I'm not wrong.
yes,
Again, if you hear something about Broha either injured or whatever, coach says something that Armstrong will play minutes, etc., etc. I'm pretty sure we'll hear something, hopefully, before the deadline, about the Southampton players. So if you hear something like that, I think Jimenez is safer, of course, right now, given today's game. But if you hear something about Broha, then he's kind of a minute risk, so you would definitely want to play potentially also a double game weaker in Doherty, right? So
right.
as your 11th player. So yeah. In only in that case, I would probably go for a -8. It might just be worth it. Um, Otherwise, probably no. But again, I mean, there is a little bit of upside, but it can go easily the other way around also, right? If Broha plays against Watford, we saw how poor Watford were against
Yeah,
Wolves, right? Like, so it could easily go the other way. So yeah, I mean, just kind of see if you can find something about Broha. I'll kind of have to look out for that as well. Who would I want to play in my 11, Jimenez or Broha? But yeah, if
I
everything's
can do
clear.
directly Reece James to Robbo, by the way, without any hit. I have that money. It's just like I
Yeah.
want Kulusevski as well. Otherwise, I could. I mean,
Mm,
that was my plan actually to get. I mean, you also know that, right? That Reece James to Robbo or Coutinho to Jota. That was my plan, right? But the
right.
5-0 of Spurs versus Everton game completely changed everything, right? And that's where
Yeah.
this Kulusevski is coming into the picture.
Yeah, I think even if you do risk to Robbo, I would still do Coutinho to Kulusevski easily. I think I
Yeah, I
see
have
the
to do that.
upside
I
there.
mean, I cannot remove Ramsey.
Yeah, so even if you do that, I still see you taking a -4 anyways. It's
Right.
basically whether you want to remove James or no. And as you were saying, you would want him back for 31 anyways. But
Yeah.
again, there is a little bit of uncertainty, right? There is a lot of time to go before 31, almost like a month, I think, from now.
Yeah.
So lot of can happen in between. He should be fit, but what if he is not? Then you're kind of stuck with him, and then you also lose some other players, right? So yeah, maybe not the worst thing, but again, kind of uh, can go down to the wire. But if you think that you want to keep gems, I don't mind removing Dini and size, I think. But again, you kind of probably have to count the number of players that you have in 29 plus 30. So maybe just closely calculate how many players you are getting,
Right.
removing gems versus not removing gems, and so on. If you get, say, like two more players in 29 plus 30, for example, I would probably prefer removing gems. Why not? You can always get him back later.
Yeah, that is true.
All
Okay,
right.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'll see. That's actually I didn't think that if I remove James, then I can get one player who's gonna play both 29 and 30 actually. But that's gonna come with -8 though. So
Yeah, or -4, right? So if you just do James and Coutinho to Robo plus Kulusevski move, still can do that with -4, but you can keep the extra player for the 30, then
oh
Dini
yeah,
and size, right? So
yeah, that is
um,
true. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think yeah, maybe do a kind of have a closer look at the number of players that you would have in each
Yeah.
configuration. You'd want to maximize that, right? Potentially in
Right. Yeah.
29 and 30, and potentially rolling the transfer in 30 also, right? You have to keep that in mind. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Okay. I think that's good
Okay.
discussion for both our
Yeah.
teams. Thanks for talking to me today, Wrangler, spending the time with me.
Yep.
Again,
Thank you.
unfortunately, we missed ZD here today. This is the second time I think we did a video without him. Hopefully, he will be back with us for the next one. Uh, and thanks for everyone who was here with us. Akib was here with us, I think, pretty much throughout the video. Thank you, Akib. And thanks, everyone. Thanks to everyone for listening to us. All right. Good luck and see you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye bye.